Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back as we're going to take a look at the energies of the Capricorn Solstice happening on December 21st, 2022. It's at 4:49 p.m. Eastern Time, so as always, adjust for your location on the planet. We have two solstices throughout the year, and the Capricorn solstice in the northern hemisphere signifies the beginning of winter, as well as the next three astrological signs that come forward. So we have then Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces that begin in this last quarter of the zodiac. And then in the southern hemisphere, the Capricorn solstice is associated with the beginning of summer, but it also relates to the last three astrology signs being Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So what we're looking at then with the Capricorn solstice is the initiation of a new season. And this is the case for all cardinal signs in Western astrology, where they begin the next 3 months, which relate to the next seasons. With this particular Capricorn solstice, there is significant energy that is going to be occurring. And there are a few things that catch my eye here that I wanted to highlight for you. So 0 degrees of the cardinal signs is actually known as the Aries point. Now that doesn't mean that the planet has to be in Aries, and this is where it can get confusing, but it's associated with the 0 degree point of the cardinal signs, as like I said, begins each of the 4 seasons. And so it is a place of initiation and starting. And in this chart, not only do we have the sun at 0 degrees of Capricorn, 0 minutes, but we also have this Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aries, 7 minutes. Jupiter is re-entering Aries here, actually on December 20th, so the day before the solstice. And this is actually the third time this Jupiter has been at 0 degrees of Aries. So we had Jupiter in Aries at 0 degrees in May, and then when it was retrograde in October before it re-entered Pisces, and now it's direct again, re-entering Aries for the third and final time. And so that's very important in this chart, where in this degree in your chart, so in this example, it's at the 10th house, wherever 0 degrees of Aries is for you in your chart, there is something that has been perhaps getting off the ground and then coming back down to the ground. It's had a lift off and then it came back down. And there was something that needed to be worked through, spiritually upgraded, energetically cleansed, perhaps trusting yourself more. These would be some of the broader themes as Jupiter re-entered Pisces and now returns to 0 degrees at the same time that we have the Capricorn solstice. So these are two big energy points here. And they're showing us that there is a new beginning that could finally be starting for you, where this 0 degrees of Aries is in your chart, where perhaps you've had to reset something. Maybe it was what could be perceived as a false start back in May or throughout the middle of this year. Maybe there was something that you had an idea about that you were ready to initiate, ready to get going with, and it only went so far and then it backtracked. This energy here, this Jupiter going back and forth over the very beginning of the full zodiac wheel has a lot of significance in how we are consciously starting a new 12-year cycle in our lives and ensuring that it's really in true alignment with who you are now, which is Aries, your sense of self, how you know who you are, your ability to be yourself, the courage it takes to be an individual or to really own and accept all of your energy. Aries is also an initiator, a pioneer, a maverick. So there could be something that you've been toying with or figuring out, can I start the thing or do I want the thing? And there could be this ongoing development of courage you've been moving through that connects to new parts of your energy, new parts of yourself. And maybe it's felt like, again, you've had to rework it, or one time was a draft and now it's more of a final version. There could have been something too where you started it and you realized this isn't even me anymore. This isn't my truth. This isn't really what I'm about. It doesn't match my energy. It doesn't match my frequency. So now we're returning to the 0 degree point of Aries, where something is ready to begin based on perhaps what you've been learning and discovering about yourself throughout this year, whatever you've had insights around, whatever has been calling you forward. It's like beckoning you. It's kind of that energy that you can't ignore, can't deny, because it has your name on it. And that's kind of what this feels like too, is this Jupiter in Aries. Something has your name on it because it's truly, authentically you. And so what we're looking at here that feels quite powerful with the Capricorn solstice is that something is ready to begin after whatever process, sorting out, figuring out you've been through this year around it. And now I see this as the support from the sun in Capricorn, because this is strength, fortitude, commitment, determination for the new. And because this Jupiter has been here 3 times this year, it could have been that, again, there's things that, you're excited about, inspired about. That Aries energy can be impulsive and impatient. It's like, let's go now. Why isn't this done yesterday? Why is this taking so long? But there's always wisdom in the cosmos. There's always wisdom in these energy cycles. So there was something you had to rework and get clearer about so that it really honored your authentic energy now. And then here we have the sun in Capricorn squaring Jupiter. And the square to Jupiter actually feels like a grounded, practical plan that is supportive. And that's because for all the ways that Jupiter will overdo it, exaggerate, go too far, do too much, especially when it's super excited in Aries, this is a very grounded, mature Capricorn sun that I feel is giving the push of support. As long as you're operating from your strength, as long as you're operating from a realistic viewpoint of knowing what it's going to take to do the thing that you've been considering wanting or perhaps bringing together throughout the year. When the sun squares Jupiter, there can be more exaggeration. But because this is happening at 0 degrees of Capricorn, 0 degrees of Aries, very strong initiating energy, very strong beginning, a new creation process. But it has wisdom in it, because the sun in Capricorn is nobody's fool. Although sometimes the Aries energy can be foolish when it's too impulsive or, says something or does something too quickly. But this sun in Capricorn has learned a lot or understood something that I think you could feel more solid in the beginning of what you're starting. It's almost like, again, I'm feeling this as support. That now the sun in Capricorn is like, okay, it's time. If you've really assessed the commitment level or the responsibilities, if you're aware of the time involved, the energy required to get there, this Capricorn says yes and will begin something when there's awareness of everything that's involved, because Capricorn doesn't want the unexpected, doesn't want to be blindsided. So there's something that we've had to move through. And this is also a more mature energy, a more mature energy of, okay, we've been through some things since May. Because May is when this Jupiter was first here. And now there's something that the sun in Capricorn sees differently, sees with new eyes. And I'm feeling like this Capricorn solstice is supporting what you're ready to take on. But I feel like there's important questions here. And I feel like one of the most important questions to assess with the new start is this part of your future? Is this part of what you're taking into your future? Or is something remnants from the past? Or is it some kind of old comfort zone? Is it something you've outgrown or it's expired? I think that that's part of this commitment energy from Capricorn, is looking at if it's really truly part of your future, then you get a solid yes. It's all green lights. But if you're hesitating, if you're like, I don't know if it's really the thing, then that could be something to really get clearer on and to look at for yourself. And again, I'm just feeling so strongly drawn to how both the sun in Capricorn and Jupiter in Aries are at the 0 degree points, initiating a clear new chapter. And this, the Capricorn, again, it assesses things on a long-term basis. It's like, is this going to go the distance? Is this really what you're committing to because you're aware of all the factors involved? It's not just a frilly, willy, I love this today. It's like, but are you going to want this in your future in 5 years or whatever it might be, whatever timeline feels right for you? And of course you could say, well, it's hard to know that, right? But there's something here where that's actually where you're honoring your authentic nature. You're like, if this is authentically yes for me, I'm going to feel it and know it. And I'm feeling so strongly like this is a big deal. This Capricorn solstice energy is a big deal. Now, the other thing that unfolds here as we move forward into 2023 is that we're going to see this Saturn move into new territory as it enters 0 degrees of Pisces in March. And then we're going to see this Pluto move forward and get to 0 degrees of Aquarius. I like the Aquarius glyph because it's like a doctor's signature. So 0 degrees of Aquarius. And then in May, this Jupiter is going to get to 0 degrees of Taurus over here. We'll just put it right here, okay? There's your bowl. Look at all these zeros. Look at how they're in order. Capricorn, 0 degrees. Aquarius, 0 degrees, March 23rd. Pisces, 0 degrees, March 6th, 7th. Aries, 0 degrees, and then Taurus, 0 degrees in May. This is so rare, like these 0 degrees progressing through the zodiac, that feels like this is also the universe showing us new energies are starting and coming in. New developments are happening. New parts of our growth will be unfolding throughout 2023 and beyond. And I'm feeling like, again, this Capricorn solstice is checking in with yourself so that whatever you're moving towards, whatever you're building, whatever you're growing and developing, it's really in alignment with your authentic self right now, your truth, but also that sense of this is what I really want. And it kind of feels like if something's on a seesaw, on a teeter-totter, maybe that's a pause. Maybe you really assess it before moving ahead. Because even if you move ahead with something, I feel like it does need to be able to grow. And that's part of these cardinal signs. Cardinal signs want growth. They want development. They want whatever is initiated to keep going, to kind of have some grit to it, to keep it moving forward. But then the fact that we're going to see Pluto at 0 degrees, Saturn at 0 degrees, Jupiter at 0 degrees of Taurus, again, I'm feeling like there's all these new potentials that we're going to be working with and playing with into 2023 and beyond. And you could feel that this Capricorn solstice is some kind of turning point for you. You're turning a corner. You're complete with a certain area of your life or chapter or lessons, or even just all the energies from, the past few years. It's also interesting looking at the calendar date here, December 21st, because if you recall, back in 2020, that's where we had the grand conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aquarius around this time of year as well. And they began a new synodic cycle, which is similar to a new moon, where they're on the same page and then they go forward and create and move things ahead based on those new intentions. So it just feels like there's something bigger about the Capricorn solstice. And in fact, 2 days after this, on December 23rd, we're going to have the Capricorn new moon. We're also going to have Chiron station direct. So this is an important energy period that we're meant to be in full alignment with our truth, our commitment. And again, it's like asking yourself, is this part of my future? Is this where I'm going? Am I excited about this? Am I freaking off the walls excited about this? Yeah, I've got my head on straight. Yeah, I'm aware of things. There's a sense here of being clear in what's involved. A lack of illusion, if you will, or idealism. But there is a sense here of possibilities and what's to come that I think is significant with the Capricorn solstice this year. And the other thing I wanted to also discuss briefly is how before we get to the Capricorn solstice, let's call it December 17, 18, 19, 20, when the sun is moving through the final degrees of Sagittarius, it will be conjunct the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sag, then moves forward. And it will be in a square to this Jupiter that will be finishing up at 29 degrees of Pisces before entering Aries. And it seems like there's a lot of things we've spiritually understood or awakened to in our journey. And the final days of Sagittarius season could have that turning point. Even the release, the completion, it can feel like a void and an emptiness when Jupiter is at 29 degrees of Pisces. So there is some kind of bigger turning point here that we're feeling, and it is something that we're feeling. So it's interesting how it doesn't quite feel mental. It feels energetic, intuitive. Like you could sense, wow, yeah, I can feel the shift. I can feel the change. I also feel like when the sun is in Capricorn, we really ground in to our new frequencies. We really ground into this is my timeline. And that's because of how the sun in Capricorn is connected to timing. And Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn and Saturn being the timekeeper, there's something where the new timelines really ground in. So it's basically, what new timeline are you inhabiting and living and really feeling empowered in? Because I think that's a big part of this Capricorn solstice, where there's things you've had to maybe even like purge, sloth off, get rid of, sit in the void with. Especially since Jupiter went back into Pisces for 2 months, October to December. It's almost like, okay, I'm clearer on what I want, on what's moving me forward, but I'm just kind of sitting in a void. And part of that void is helping you formulate a higher conscious understanding of what you're committing to that you want after the eclipses we've had this year, after the big shifts and changes. It's almost like the universe is saying, okay, where's your yes? Where are you giving yourself a yes? And that's what this Capricorn solstice is supporting. So I just wanted to do a video for you because I was just feeling so much energy around the sun at 0 degrees of Capricorn and Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aries, and then noticing the other 0 degree points in March and May, but mostly in March. So again, the progression of energies here is quite fascinating, and it's time to move forward. It really is. And you could just feel that in certain healing themes and soul contracts and karma and other commitments. You're like, yeah, I don't have any energy for that. I don't have anything within me that's energetically connecting to that anymore because I'm ready for the new. I'm ready for the next part of my journey. I'm ready to really commit to what inspires me, what is part of my future, and what is the correct area of it's like the correct way to apply my energy in the new experiences, timelines, and what I'm here to move towards and create now. So I feel this as a pretty empowering turning point around the solstice. I'll be back soon with a chart on the Capricorn new moon, which again, it's only 2 days after this. So in the Capricorn new moon chart, we'll talk about more of the planets, but I just wanted to bring your attention to the significance of the sun in Capricorn, Jupiter in Aries, both at 0 degrees, and how there's something here that's beginning, that's fresh, that's new, and it's going to finally stick and be realistic and grounded and move forward. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your comments, your likes, your subscribes, and thanks for sharing these videos on social media, and thanks for sharing them on Facebook and in other places where you hang out to support other people and making these connections for themselves, to seeing what's happening for them and how they can make the most of the energies too. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure and sign up for my 2023 Soul Growth Astrology program. It is still on sale. Details are below the video here. And it's designed to help you see what is unfolding for you throughout the year, especially these outer planets making big moves. That's a big deal. So we go through all that in the program. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Take care.